Hello FPL managers and welcome back to another video from myself, Will, and fantasyfootballhub.co.uk. As always, going to be briefly touching on how my team got on last game before moving on to my team, my transfers, my captaincy and my chip strategy for the upcoming game weeks. Let's get into it. Okay, so last game week seems like it happened quite a long time ago, so I'm very briefly going to go over this. Pretty good game week on the whole. Fernandez coming in with a goal as captain. Dallas, an absolute hero for me again. You know, he's been a hero all season, and he's coming in with a massive 12 points. That boosted me up to around the 1.3k mark. So going back in the right direction now after a bit of a red arrow the previous game week, but overall pretty happy with the team, pretty happy with 78 points all out and a nice rank jump from last game week. My transfer in was Ben Mee, decided to play him over Diaz in the end. There was no difference, they both got 1 point, but happy to have me in my team for the upcoming double game weeks. And talking of double game weeks, this is a nice graphic that I've showed before, but again, it's from Ben Crellin, so go drop him a follow on Twitter if you're not already. But again, I think it's important to highlight the upcoming double game weeks. Of course, we've got Manchester City, Everton and Burnley all have double game week, and then next game week we've got Southampton and Leeds with a confirmed double game week, and then a few others in there which have potential for a double game week, but those are unlikely. And then in dark brown there, you can see all the teams that are potentially doubling in 26. I'm not going to go into great detail here around, potential picks for these upcoming blank and double game weeks. I've already done that early in the week. I've got a video on that goes into much more depth around potential picks that you could look at for the upcoming blank and double games. The other thing that is worth pointing out though here is that we do have a confirmed blank in game week 29, and we've got a lot more clarity on the teams that are blanking then, and the teams that are playing crucially. So the likes of Fulham, Leeds, Aston Villa and Tottenham, although Aston Villa and Tottenham are expected to be added to 29, that's not actually confirmed yet. But also down the bottom there, of course, you've got Brighton, Newcastle, Arsenal, West Ham, all with a fixture in game week 29. Now, I think the crucial ones to just highlight here is that we expected to get Aston Villa and Tottenham. We expected that fixture to be added to game week 29. Now, if it is, which we expect it to, then those two teams are actually going to be really crucial because they're also very likely to have a double game week in 26. Now, why that is really important, because they're the only teams that have a double game week in 26 and a fixture in 29. Again, it's only likely that they will have a double game week teams, and it's likely that that fixture will be added to 29. We don't know that for sure yet, but nevertheless, we're expecting that to happen. So those two teams are going to be really crucial for our sides, and we probably do want to be loading up on those teams if you don't have your free hit chip. Now, if you have your free hit chip, then you'll probably want to be playing that in game week 29, and you don't really need to worry about loading up on the likes of Aston Villa and Spurs, although potentially they could be good picks anyway. But for those of us that have already played a free hit like myself, then for me, I think that I was debating when to play the wild card. I think given that Aston Villa and Spurs are likely to have a fixture in game week 29, then I can have 6 of their players, 3 Villa, 3 Spurs, that are going to play in game week 26. They're going to have a double game week. They're going to have a pretty good double game week as well. They also could have doubles between 27 and 28. So they're going to be good picks for my team anyway. And then I've at least got 6 players that are going to play in 29. And of course, I'm going to have other players in my team, the likes of Leeds players. I can have them on my bench potentially in game week 26, and they're going to be playing Fulham in 29. So it's actually going to be pretty easy to get a team together with transfers between 26, 27, 28 to get a good team together for 29. And then after that, I'll be playing my wild card in game week 30. So for me, the results of the FA Cup, pretty much make this strategy a bit of a no-brainer. I can set myself up for a very good game week 26. I've already got, I think 9 or 10 players that double in 26. So I can get a really good team together. I don't have my bench boost. I've already played that. So I don't need to worry about, filling my bench with double game week players. I can keep the likes of Leeds on my bench who have a single game week and then have them play in 29. So if you do still have your bench boost left, then I'll probably look to play it in 26. If you do have your free hit chip, then I'll look to play it in Game Week 29. Triple Captain, that's obviously a much more flexible chip. You can play that in any double Game Week release, so I wouldn't worry too much about when to play that. It's looking like Manchester City in Game Week 26 will be a good time to play that, but you don't necessarily have to play it then, but I think that's a good opportunity. I'm not going to go into any greater detail around that. I think what I will try and do though is, because I know this is a really, really popular topic and we get a lot of questions around it, is I'm going to try and do a video next game week that's going to go into more depth around chip strategy, what you should do depending on different chips you have left. But for me and my team, I've played my free hit, played my bench boost, so what I'll be looking to do is probably play my triple captain in game week 26. Look to get a full 11 of double game weekers for 26. Make sure there are plenty of Aston Villa and Spurs players in there that then I can use transfers to get a full plan 11 for 29. In game week 30, I can then play my wild card and set my team up for the rest of the season. Okay, so this is how the team is shaping up for the upcoming game. Now, I'd like to say I knew my transfers, but the reality is that I'm still not sure, and I'm going to be waiting probably until the last moment before confirming those transfers. I actually almost did Calvert-Lewin in on Monday. I was going to do Brewster to Calvert-Lewin, and I was also going to downgrade Robertson to Luca Dean, so I'd have 2 Everton players in place. And the reason I was going to do that on Monday is because I can't actually afford it now. But I'm glad I waited, because obviously, I wanted to see what was happening with the FA Cup. I wanted to see, the upcoming double game weeks and the fixtures around that. So I can't make that move anymore, but, potentially Calvert-Lewin is injured or he's got a knock. Obviously, I'm recording this on Friday morning. I've got to be playing, going to be paying close attention to the press conferences. I still might bring Calvert-Lewin in. Obviously, I think that I could do Antonio to Calvert-Lewin. West Ham are not a team that I want long term. They don't have double game weeks, and their fixtures get pretty difficult after this. So Antonio is definitely a player that I am considering dropping. Obviously, he's got a good fixture this game week against Sheffield United, but even then, Sheffield United seem to be picking up a little bit of form and seem to be playing a little bit better. So I don't think that's sort of a guaranteed haul by Antonio, even if he is fit to play. So I think, one, you've got to look and you've got to pay close attention to the press conferences. Highly recommend Ben Dinnery's sort of summary of the press conferences that is on Fantasy Football Hub. That will be out later today. So make sure you go and have a look at that. Make sure that you have a look at his predicted lineups, who he thinks is going to start, because he's really the guy that's in the know and knows all this information. But I could still be looking at Antonio to Calvert-Lewin. I was also contemplating downgrading Son, but as I mentioned previously, I'm a little bit hesitant to do that because, Spurs have got some good upcoming fixtures. Obviously, Man City away is not ideal, but after that, they've got a good run of doubles, and they play in Game Week 29. So they're a team that I'd like to hang on to. I do want to potentially also find a way to get Harry Kane into my team. So I've got to think a little bit about that. And that potentially also might involve a Son downgrade. If I had to choose between those two, I think I definitely want Harry Kane instead of Heung-min Son. If I were to downgrade Son, I'd probably actually go to Lookman. He's very, very friendly on the budget. He's obviously got a double game week this game week. And he plays in 29, so he'll have a fixture in 29 as well. So it's kind of setting me up for that as well. And I think that he's got some really good underlying numbers as well. So I think he's a good option. Obviously, he does play for Fulham, and I'm not expecting him to score loads of goals. But I think he serves a purpose, doesn't he? He's friendly on the budget. Most game weeks he's going to go on my bench. But of course, for the upcoming double game week and game week 29, he does serve as a pretty useful enabler. So I'm potentially looking at, Son's downgrade to Lookman, and then, potentially looking at some way to bring Calvert-Lewin in if he's fit as well. Those are my current thoughts. I also like Luca Dean at the back, so I potentially could do Robertson to Luca Dean. But overall, pretty happy with the team, pretty happy with how it's set up. The one player I would really like in there is Nick Pope, but I don't think it's worth a transfer from Areola to Nick Pope because, they've both got a double game weeks. Areola could do well as well. I expect Pope to score more than Areola, but he's a half decent pick himself. In terms of captaincy, I think it's pretty much locked on Gundogan. He's been in banging form. Man City are banging form. Spurs and Everton, I think that they could score. They have that attacking potential to score against City. So while I think that Diaz and Cancelo are interesting options, I don't they don't scream like an obvious captaincy shout. If I had to choose, you know, if I was doing a free hit this game week, I wouldn't suggest that. But, you know, if I had a completely blank slate, I'd probably look at Sterling, actually. You know, I think that he's probably the best captaincy shout this game week. Potentially even Foden, you know, if you wanted to go a little bit differential. I think that he's got a good chance of starting this game week and getting a lot of minutes in the double game week. But, you know, for my team, for my situation, I think Gundogan's probably the best bet. Well, thank you very, very much for watching. If you have enjoyed the video, then please do drop it a like and subscribe to the channel. I will, of course, be revealing my final team transfers and captaincy on Twitter. So if you are interested on that, drop me a follow. My personal Twitter handle is @FFH_Will. Link in the description for that. Otherwise, yeah, good luck for the upcoming game week, and I'll see you on the other side. Bye for now.